Okay, so let me tell you about a time that we had to fix another company's work. Now, unfortunately, that's not unheard of for us. Unfortunately, that's a pretty common occurrence. Most of the time, I would say it has to do with something small, believe it or not, like a condensate pump being used instead of a hard pipe gravity drain. But sometimes it is absolutely amazing. The first thing that I think of is a house downtown. This wealthy guy bought the house for his son who's attending college at Charleston, and he had had another crawl space company come out. And supposedly they had removed all the insulation and placed a sump pump and a vapor barrier, and they're still having problems. And the floors are bowing and cupping, hence why they figured out they had a problem. So I go under to inspect, and as soon as I crawl in, there's no real walls to this place. It's on blocks, and part of the foundation sitting really low on one side of the grade of the lot. And lo and behold, I crawl under, and like it's this tiny little spot, and there's a pile of masonry, just I don't even know how many hundreds or thousands of bricks that's just taking up basically the whole front of the crawl space, and it's piled to the ceiling. But like comically, there's a 10 by 10 foot piece of black 6 mil plastic on top of it. Like that was gonna do anything. And then all the rest of the crawl space has no vapor barrier of any kind. They did install a sump pump, and then half of the crawl space they didn't pull the insulation down because they couldn't get to it. And I guess they just I can't even begin to understand the thinking there. But yeah, 10 square feet of plastic on top of a giant pile of bricks. There's a sump pump, and of course the whole thing is 25% moisture content. Water's flowing in from the open sides because of the grade of the lot, and it's just sitting under there. And there's nothing to carry it to the sump pump, no dehumidifier, nothing. And I was kind of taken aback at first because it was such a effed up crawl space, to be honest. And the contractor that had brought it to our attention is like, well, what would it take to fix it? I'm like, dude, a lot. No one wants to do that. And they're like, well, what would we have to do? I'm like, well, we have to get that insulation down, but we can't get back there. So first things first, we have to excavate the crawl space. We have to pull what ended up being 1.1 tons of bricks out from underneath it. If we can do all that and get the crawl space level, then it's such a high moisture content, nothing's going to fix it but an encapsulation. So we need to enclose it with walls. We need to enclose this crawl space so that we can encapsulate it, and then we have to encapsulate it. All things said, massive project. We ended up moving 14 tons of dirt from under that crawl space. That's man powered with sleds and a bunch of Latino dudes, myself leading the way, actually. And yeah, that's just the first thing that came to mind. Just that tiny comical piece of black plastic on top of a giant pile of masonry.